Well, we'll get started here. Um, I'll get started here talking a little bit about the value of a college education. Just a little bit of a joke here first. Um, while this is of course said jokingly, it is very important for a family to have a plan for paying for a student's education. Um, if you uh, if you need more information about that, we are always here to help you with this, but we'll try to give you as much info as we can in this session today, but we definitely encourage you to reach out to us after today if you do have more questions. So with that, I'll talk a little bit just about the value of a college education in general. You can see from this chart here that those with a bachelor's degree are more likely to be employed than those without. This is especially important in a volatile economy like we're in right now. So the fact that you would have a bachelor's degree is going to increase your likelihood of being employed throughout your life and your career. It also is going to increase the likelihood that you are going to earn more just in your everyday job. You can see that people with a bachelor's degree or higher earn more on average than those without. And then on the next slide, this gives an idea of the amount of earnings that students would receive over their life, even factoring in student loans, so paying back student loans. So you can see the orange line there are students that earn a bachelor's degree. And you can see early on when you're factoring in your student loan payments, potential student loan payments, earnings might be a little bit lower, but then as you are kind of working your way through your career, advancing and earning more, you'll be able to pay off those loans and then also even earn even more with those factoring in over the course of your life. So a bachelor's degree is a very good choice to make still, and I'm sure many of you here are already planning on pursuing a bachelor's degree, but why don't we talk a little bit about what the education at St. Thomas can give you. So St. Thomas, we do we do our best to try to provide the highest possible quality of education for you. I'll start off with some stats. Average class size is about 21 students, and student to faculty ratio is 14:1. So what that means is that you are going to have a small class size where you're able to interact one-on-one with your professor. We don't have any teaching assistants, so all courses are taught directly by the professor. And then almost all of our faculty hold the highest degree in their field of study, which means that, that you're going to be taught directly by the expert within that field and be able to gain that knowledge from experts that have oftentimes been working in the private industry first before going on to teaching. So. And then we do a really good job of preparing students to be employed. So outside of the strong education that you'll receive at St. Thomas, our students also get hired after their 4 years here. So just this last year, 95% of our 2019 graduates were either gainfully employed in graduate school, serving in the military, or other long-term volunteering within 6 months of graduation. And actually more than half of those students had a job before they even had a job lined up even before they graduated. So St. Thomas does a really good job of preparing you and helping you with finding employment. And then a big part of that are the alumni connections that you'll receive as part of your education here. 71% of our graduating seniors had at least one internship, most of the time within 5 miles of campus. And a big part of that is that we have an alumni network of over 110,000 Tommies across the globe. And of course, that grows more and more every year. So St. Thomas education also provides a large network for you as well. So you're probably wondering today, when talking about financing your education, one of the most important parts is what the costs are. So this is the bare bones costs, everything to consider in the school year that you'll be charged before any financial aid. So this is our current costs for this current school year. So there's everything: tuition, fees, room and board. So what we call our direct costs, everything that's going to show up on the bill from St. Thomas. And then we also want to include what's called our indirect costs, things like books, travel expenses, personal expenses. So you know everything that's going to be associated, other costs that you might have associated with being a college student, not just what is going to be showing up on your bill. So while our what we call sticker price can be higher than public universities, we do quite a bit in financial aid to help bring these costs down. So this is the basic equation of figuring out what your real cost to attend St. Thomas will be. We take the direct costs that we just looked at, subtract out the financial aid that you'll potentially receive. Almost all students at St. Thomas receive something in financial aid. And then that gets to what your real cost would be. So you're probably wondering what are the financial aid opportunities that we have. So I'll start with just going over kind of the basic definitions of each of these, and then I'll hand it over to Amanda, who's going to go into these a little bit more in depth, and also the FAFSA process. Scholarships, the first one there, these are this is money that's given to a student to attend college. This is what we call merit-based. So it is based off of something in the student's background. So we're going to be determining these based off of application of admission primarily. So looking at things like high school performance, but scholarships can also come from other talents that you have, other things in your background as well. So again, scholarship, money given to you, you don't have to pay it back or work a job. Grants are very similar to scholarships in that it's money given to you, but they're typically need-based. So whenever you see something called a grant from St. Thomas or from the federal government or state government, this is going to be based off of what's called the FAFSA form, which helps determine your financial need. And again, Amanda will talk about that in just a little bit here. But grants and scholarships are both what we like to look at first, because this helps reduce what your out-of-pocket costs are going to be without any additional steps with it. Loans, on the other hand, is a type of financial aid that does need to be repaid. Loans you can look at as investing in your future, so borrowing money to reduce your out-of-pocket costs now with income that you're going to hopefully make with your college education in the future. So loans, while it is something that needs to be repaid, we still consider a type of financial aid. Work study is similar. Work study are funds that you can earn by working a job either on campus or with one of our off-campus partners. And with that, I'll hand it off to Amanda, who will talk a little bit more about those in detail.
All right, thanks, Neil, for that. So students are automatically considered for a merit scholarship when they apply to the university. They are reviewed on a holistic level. It's based off academic achievement, involvement in school and community. As you may have heard, we are a test optional school, so test scores will not be considered in this scholarship review. The scholarship ranges up to $34,000. So again, based off the holistic view, it is renewable up to 4 years. And we also do have other opportunities for students to apply for institutional scholarship. We highly encourage students to look into these, as these are going to be additional scholarship dollars, some up to full tuition. I know in a previous session, someone had asked a question about the GHR scholarship. This is one of our full tuition scholarships for students pursuing a career in business. Application deadlines do vary as early as November. I know the GHR one for sure is January 8th. So look on our website, take note of those application deadlines. These are going to be really good resources for students looking for additional funding opportunities. We also do have matching scholarships, so dollars for scholars. If your student is awarded one of those are matching scholarship up to $2,000. So that scholarship can turn into $4,000. So great opportunities to not be missed. We also encourage students to look at outside scholarships. We like to say look locally than globally. Students have a lot better success rate of securing scholarship dollars for local scholarships. We encourage students to use their high school counselors. They're going to be a really good resource for those local scholarships, but there are scholarship opportunities everywhere, so students will just have to keep an eye on those. Apply early. That way your student has the best chance of being awarded some of those additional funding. Any scholarship that a student is eligible for does reduce the cost of St. Thomas, so they are going to be in addition to what they're awarded at the university. Grants, as Neil had mentioned, grants are based off need. FAFSA free application for federal student aid application does need to be submitted to determine eligibility. Now, the sources of funding can be anywhere from federal, state, even institutional. So again, apply early so we can determine your eligibility. As I mentioned, FAFSA is going to be required for any grant type of funding. The application is available now. This is an annual application, so students do have to apply on an annual basis. The situations can change year to year, so it is really, we highly encourage students to submit it every year. Household can change. Maybe their student has a younger sibling that is now going to be in college. Maybe income has changed over time. So that's going to be a really great resource to determine a student's eligibility for additional aid. This is the website for FAFSA, again, free application for federal student aid. If a student has questions, you have questions regarding the application, contact our office. We are eager to help students. It can be sometimes overwhelming at first, but we are here to make that transition as easy as possible for you. So as I mentioned, FAFSA is available. It is going to be based off your 2019 tax information. Contact your financial aid counselor if you do have any questions regarding information that needs to be used. The FAFSA does allow students to report up to 10 schools, so we will automatically get your FAFSA application results if St. Thomas is one of the schools reported. I would also encourage your student to review their application once it's been submitted, to have them look at their student aid report. There may be additional requirements sometimes, so double check those results. As Neil mentioned, there are loan options for students. The federal direct loan students is going to be available for all students who submit the FAFSA. Your first year students are going to be eligible for a $5,500 federal student loan. Some students will be eligible for what we call the subsidized loan. It is based off the FAFSA results. So again, have your student apply for that. The grace period, there is a 6 month grace period, which means students do not have to make any payments on that loans until 6 months after they graduate. This academic year, that interest rate is 2.75. So we typically see those loans at a little bit lower interest rates. And those are a little bit more comparable to some private loans that students are looking into. There are additional loan opportunities aside from the federal loan program. So if your student is in need of additional funding, we can talk about those options as well as they come through that process. We do get a lot of questions about average loan debt and the payment amount. So as you can see, we are fairly comparable to the national and Minnesota student loan debt. Neil also mentioned a little bit about work study. So any student can work on campus. This work study program allows students to be able to work on campus, help with all those extra educational costs, maybe put some towards their billing costs if needed. Most of our work study is available for students looking to enter a type of career field. We have all types of job available for students in every different types of field. So as students are ready to start applying for jobs, our human resources website will have all those availability of jobs listed. The biggest takeaway is, don't overlook a school. We always encourage students to go through the financial aid process from start to finish. As students are starting this process, they can be very overwhelmed with what the sticker price costs and maybe want to shy away from applying because they don't think they can afford it. Financial aid, some students are always surprised at how often St. Thomas is affordable. So go through that process from start to finish, and we can help compare that ending result. Here's our timeline. So as you learned a little bit earlier today, the FAFSA is available starting October 1, so it is available now. Students will go ahead and apply for admission. We will start to prioritize financial aid awards early December, and we'll get out those awards by the start of the year in January. So apply early. The earlier you apply, the sooner you'll be able to determine your financial aid results. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, every student at St. Thomas does have their personal financial aid counselor. We find this very helpful as you have a one-point person to work with. Hopefully all 4 years, you'll stick to that person to make that transition and your experience the best it can be.
Great.
Here's our contact information, and I'll pass it on to Neil now.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Amanda. So with that, we have plenty of time for questions. So if you do have questions, feel free to throw that in the Q&A section, and we will do our best to help you.
All right, so we will leave this open for a few more minutes in case any financial aid related questions come in. But I'm also right now going to be adding into the chat feature a link to our Tommie Talks. Our Tommie Talks are, a time for you to be able to connect with an admissions counselor or one of our current students, so you can get some more personal questions answered there if you would like to, or just connect and kind of hear about some of the different things that you've learned about today. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us. So if you got to go, that is all right, but we'll be hanging out here if there are any questions related to financial aid for the next few minutes.
Again, feel free to ask questions if you have anything about scholarships, costs, loans, grants, financial aid, anything along those lines.
And one thing that I forgot to mention, if you do decide to go and join us for one of those Tommie Talks, which we really hope that you do, you're going to be put into a waiting room at the start, and then you'll be admitted into the room, and then you'll be set up with someone to talk to individually.
Well, it looks like we do have a question. So question about living off campus and parking available. So there is parking available for students off campus. I don't remember the exact cost off the top of my head. That is located on the parking services section of our website. They have a lot of really great information there. That is available for students living off campus. There are specific lots for students to park in. So that is available.
Hey, Neil, and we had one more come in through the chat feature. Could you just talk a little bit about the D Scholarship program quick?
Sure. Yep. So the D Scholarship is available for students to apply to. If you've applied for admission already, if you're a senior, you can go ahead and actually, I believe the application is open for you to apply already. If not, it should be soon. The D Scholarship is a full tuition scholarship. It is competitive, so not everyone that applies is selected for the D Scholarship. And it is awarded to students that come from underrepresented populations at St. Thomas. It is a 4-year scholarship as well. Again, it is competitive, so there's a number of essay questions that you would complete, so it's a good idea to put some extra time and consideration into those questions. And beyond just the scholarship itself, there's a great DEAS community of the recipients that really helps students when they come to St. Thomas as well. So great program. I encourage you to, if you're interested in it, to look up some more details on the website. I believe you can also find the application through your admission portal as well. I see another question about being homeschooled without grades. I believe, and Chris, maybe you can help me with this one as well. I believe if you are homeschooled, you do still need to submit a homeschool transcript as well. Chris, you might have some more information about what your office normally looks for in the homeschool transcript.
Yeah, so we will still need a transcript to be submitted by homeschool students. If you have specific questions about your current situation, then I would encourage you to go join one of those Tommie Talks right now, and we can have you chat with an admissions counselor and see kind of what the next steps for you would be. That'd be kind of my current suggestion, but then also just feel free to get in contact with our office. You can send an email to just our admissions inbox, or if you know who your personal admissions counselor is, I would encourage you to connect with that person as well, because it's kind of going to be done on a case-by-case basis with that.
And the academic scholarships that we do award do look at grades. They also look at other aspects, basically every aspect of your admission application too. So it's not, grades aren't the only factor in it. But as Amanda mentioned earlier, we will do a holistic review of your application to help determine merit scholarships. Generally, need-based financial aid is not going to take academics into account, so it still encourages you to submit the FAFSA form as well to determine your need-based financial aid on top of merit awards. So good question.
All right, it looks like we've gotten through all of our questions in the Q&A right now. If you still have some that you're holding on to, go join those Tommie Talks, but we're gonna close out this session right now. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us this afternoon. And like I've said before, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our office or go hop into one of those Tommie Talks.